If you have a pet at home, you can probably relate to this pretty easily. Whenever you call their name, they instantly recognize that you're trying to get their attention, either for a treat or some righteous cuddles or whatever. Chances are, too, that your pet can recognize the sound of your own voice, and they can probably tell if you're happy or excited or want to play or angry. During the time of Jesus, one of the most popular jobs was to take care of livestock. You can just look at all the different times that sheep and shepherds and livestock appear just in the Gospels alone, let alone the entire Bible. Shepherds knew how to take care of their flock, how to guide them where they needed to go, and the sheep knew the voice of their shepherd and would follow, just like a cat or a dog would. Jesus uses this example of sheep and shepherds to explain how he knows who his true followers are. Jesus says that he is the good shepherd, and therefore we are his sheep. Look again at the example that Jesus talks about with the gate. The gate represents heaven, or rather, what it takes to get into heaven. Jesus repeatedly says that the sheep know the sound of his voice, and he will call each sheep by name and guide them through the gate into heaven. Interestingly, the sheep won't follow the voice of just any shepherd, only his own. As a matter of fact, the sheep will run away from a stranger's voice because it isn't his voice. So what does this mean for us in our lives? Well, just as a sheep follows the voice of its shepherd, we are supposed to follow the voice of Jesus in our lives. Because he will never lead us astray, he wants us to learn the sound of his voice. He wants us to learn his voice and only his voice, so that when he calls us, we can follow him through the gates and ultimately be with him in heaven. Of course, this is always much easier said than done. In life, there are a lot of different voices distracting us from hearing Jesus' true voice. Maybe it's a coworker trying to get you to gossip, or a friend that's trying to get you to do something that you know is wrong. Or maybe it's the world saying that power and money are the most important things in life. These other voices are those strangers' voices that Jesus is talking about. So what can we do so that we don't get distracted by all these other voices? Get to know Jesus as much as you possibly can. Spend time with him in Scripture, in the Eucharist. Talk to him in prayer. He wants to hear you. Remember, knowing about Jesus is a lot different than knowing Jesus. Then you can learn what his voice sounds like. So in any situation, you will know what Jesus' voice is telling you is the right thing and what isn't. And the more you know him, the better you can distinguish between what's Jesus' voice and what is not. So remember today, if you hear Jesus talking to you, don't ignore it. Learn to know his voice and follow him. He loves his children. He loves you, and he will never lead you astray. Remember, he is the good shepherd, after all.